Welcome, everyone, to Together We Serve TV show. It's Friday, a little after 2, little technical difficulties. I think I screwed up, and we're human, fallible, but our wonderful guest is here, my good friend. Now, we serve, but what's the best way to serve? Got to communicate, got to speak, got to talk, and doing it the right way to really serve and to serve together as a group, a community. Communication is so important. And my guest has taught me so much about communication. I am so pumped to have her on today. Let's bring her on. Shelley, you're here. Welcome to the show.
Steve, as always, it is really fun to see you. I love our conversations.
I do too, and I'm going to do a little adjustment here because I am all over the place. Some reason I was in the wrong place, and I'm waiting for you, and I'm like, what the heck? But here we are, and that's all that matters. How to keep pressure. I want to say the title because I want the audience to understand how to keep pressure from hijacking your message. How do I do that?
You have a pressure response pathway. And what I mean by that is a system, a few minutes, all it takes, to regulate pressure and bring cognitive clarity. So in these instances where you were probably panicking a little bit, maybe getting the tool, the right room, checking the audio, it's a live show, a pressure response system calms you down, brings you into clarity and into focus. And these are tools that actually elite performers and high pressured professionals use.
And my show's getting so big, I got a crowd. And they're cheering, they're excited.
They should be.
Because and they should, because speaking is, you speak to your wife, you speak to your business partner, you speak to a funding group, we're speaking all day, all night. Yeah. What is the first tip you give somebody when they're speaking under pressure? And pressure to me means stress as well. Can you kind of put those together, or are they too separate?
Well, speaking and communication is different for everybody. So what brings each of us stress could be a multitude of things. The key is, how do you regulate that stress? How do you regulate that pressure so you can function, so you can recover? And I'm going to go back to sports psychology, military training, people that are paramedics and high stakes firefighters that have to function under immense, intense pressure, far more than we could ever imagine as a communicator. And they use techniques to regulate and adjust so that whatever that stress level is it a conversation with a partner? Is it just you messed up starting a session? What is it? The pressure is there. It doesn't matter how you got there. So the key is, how do you regulate it? And the key is, I'm going to repeat it again, through a pressure response pathway.
Show us that pathway. What is that?
So I mentioned a little bit about elite performers. Behavioral scientists study this for different types of stress pressured groups. Like I mentioned, people that are in paramedics in the military, doing special ops. There's so many different industries that require technical training, and they're usually done in small, like silos, like each component is handled individually. Like an athlete might be, a sports coach might say, stare at a candle for, 3 hours. Seriously, this is what a lot of athletes do to gain that focus and concentration. So they're not in the noise, they're regulating their stress. So the pathway is a system, a unique combined system of all these different independent methods into a unique system that is specifically designed for speakers to handle stress, to be able to walk into that room within the first few minutes of anxiety and regulate pressure. And there's 5 steps to it that involve parts of the Remarkable framework.
It's a great book. What's the name of the book again? Let the audience know.
Remarkable Speaking, a framework to embody your voice and your vision.
And I want to say this, audience, I'm not a speaker. I've spoken at groups, but that's not my tool for my business. But I use your book for almost everything I do. Presenting a $200 million deal to helping serve somebody, giving service, learning how to speak properly. You've taught me so much. I want to dive into connecting, because together we serve, we've got to connect. You taught me something, and you spoke to my group of podcast hosts so incredibly well. I still get feedback from them, how wonderful that was. The first impression, the first 10, 20, 30, whatever seconds, I hear it's different seconds, are the most important when people meet you. But you talk about telling your story, not Steve Ramona, the CPA who saved $100 million for my clients. That's features and benefits. Tell us how we should really introduce ourselves.
So that's another stressor reducer, because telling your story out of the gate is something you know. You don't have to worry about, do I have the exact words? Am I going to say something wrong? It's your journey. So not only is a story compelling and captivating, we've been telling stories for 30,000 years since cave drawings, right? This is how we communicate. And telling a story relaxes you because you're sharing a part of your journey that you know very well. Again, it captivates the audience, but it reduces the pressure because you're engaging in something that's unique about you, and people may relate to a similar story, but it's a great way to connect.
Well, I'm going to give you kudos. Arden, she doesn't know I'm going to say this, but I was on a podcast 2 days ago and got done. Big podcast. A little bit nervous. I don't get nervous anymore, but the gentleman told me, I've done so many podcasts. Yours was the best because you told the best stories.
Ooh.
And the reason I did that because of your book and your expertise. Because thank you, because you could tell your story, but he said, you're so passionate, energetic about telling a story, and I've told it 100 times, and you're right. You never forget your story or the story that you've been involved with. Change the game. He's going to introduce me to a bunch of people. It's going to elevate my business, which we forget. We impress people with good speaking, good stories. We're not forgettable. Dive into a client that you work with, because you've got great stories. I've heard them before of that and how you help them.
Well, you're putting a name to a face, right? So we can talk about, you need a pressure response system that I'm sharing with you today to regulate the pressure. Well, working with a client came to me, a CTO, a chief technology officer of a very large aviation company, was quite panicked about presenting in a conference with over 500 people, right? And this was just the other day. And we were going through the 5 steps of the pressure response, things that this person could do to sort of navigate the nerves. I mean, they were feeling very overwhelmed. They've spoken before, just like you said, on podcasts. This person has been in conferences, but something about this one just changed the stakes for them. They had a very important tool, a part that they were presenting, and he wanted it to be so right. And we reflected back on the journey. Well, tell me about an aha moment where this tool really was the pivotal moment. And sure enough, walk me through in minutes. We're not talking about a whole long, lengthy, feature-length film here, but in minutes, he basically told me about the situation where the team was working together and one of the scientists discovered something about the part and it just switched everything. And they said, wow, we got this tool. We can now run to the audience with it, to our clients, and they're just going to flip. Doing that, recreating that story was like, yeah, that was pretty amazing. And the energy came back in telling that story, the natural tendency of just being yourself, and the pressure started to dissolve as he was sharing this story. So he did really well, and people came up to him during that conference, after the conference, ready to sign up. How can I get that? What do I need to do?
Amazing. I hear your stories. because anybody can do this, right? This is not the elite. I'm not elite, and I'm doing fantastic with it. Everybody can do this, right?
Anybody. And, you mentioned earlier, you're not a speaker, but you say, well, I do podcasts. I meet one-on-one. I serve people. That's talking. Anytime words and vocals are coming out of your mouth, you're speaking, you're communicating something. Singing is communicating. Reading is communicating. So yes, anybody, everybody. I'm going down to a magnet school this week, Monday, to do a session with 11th graders that are going for their first internships. Why not start early? The reality is I work with high-level elite executives, and I'm sharing this information with everybody. It's not just for them. They have a unique situation, but everybody is communicating. And I hear these stories about I'm nervous, I don't have the right thing to say. This is a common issue from 11th graders all the way up to the elite performers.
You're just absolutely amazing. And I say this, I've known her much more than a lot of you in the audience, but she's got that servant's heart. She's going to talk to 11th graders because they're the future. Yeah, you work for the elites, the people with billion and $100 million companies, and they pay you. I'm not going to ask you to pay them, but you do a lot. You did a free group for me. You spoke to my group for 15 minutes for free, which I love because that's service. That's a servant's heart. Together we serve. It doesn't have to always be transactional, which I love about you. But here's something that's interesting. I was thinking about you all week. Stories and speaking, when I'm meeting somebody and trying to connect and build a relationship, can I ask Joe Smith, hey, tell me your story. What are you all about? Does that help me connect with Joe Smith better and be a better speaker?
I think the key to all of this, asking questions, speaking, is specificity. So I gave you a specific story about a particular client I worked with. You're telling me about a particular podcast you were on the other day. It's being specific with an example. Not only do you help narrow the focus for everybody in the room, but you're making it easier for the person you're asking the question to. So as a podcaster, you're asking a question, tell me about yourself. Well, gee, where do I start in my decades of being on this planet? That's a loaded question, but you can make it easier by saying, there's so many things you've done. Tell me about the very first job you ever had and how that impacted you today. When you get so specific, you're helping me with that question to give a specific response. And my brain also is not figuring out, where do I land with that?
It's beautiful. Specificity. I could never say that word. Being specific. I'll use the other pronoun or word. I like that because the questions are obviously important, because that's what your story is, a question, and leads to stuff. And I do it all the time since I've met you. It's helped me a lot. Hey, what's your challenge? What's your story challenge for your business?
Right.
When I ask what's your challenge, that's an audience. If you just don't have a question, ask what's your challenge in your business. You're not selling them. You're learning their story. And I've become extremely big things have happened in my life because of you. That's one of the reasons you're here. But thank you. You're so welcome. But when you say speaking, I always think of on stage. But I'm glad you mentioned I'm talking to my wife, negotiating a new car.
That's right.
I'm speaking to my wife. I'm speaking to the car sales guy. On and on. What's one big tip people can do to be better at speaking overall?
Have a pre-game speaking routine. It's right out of the pressure response pathway. And notice that I'm bringing that up a lot because this is the number one underlying theme. The majority of people, you're good at what you do. I mean, high school students, they're good at marching band, right? Or they're good at the debate club. Maybe as an adult, you're good at doing podcasts. Somebody else is good at running a Fortune 500 company. But the common denominator is not so much that you have a fear of speaking, is that you get so tense, the nerves take over, that everything locks up. You can't speak at all. You can't breathe at all. You're tense. You're sweating. Different things happen to the body. So having a pre-game speaking routine, 15 minutes, 30 minutes before you step into a room. I did it before I came on this podcast. boom, 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 a little drill that helps you regulate the pressure so you have the clarity, you can think, you have focus, the noise is quieted down, you've reframed and have a good feeling, because when you really do this routine, it reframes the situation to a positive place, and that's what you're going to believe.
Tools like that can be fun, because that is, let's use the sports arena. Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, you can read their books, their memoir. They'll tell you about their routines daily, before games, after games.
That's right.
It just makes you better and keeps you consistent.
Well, it's based on sports coaching.
Yeah.
It's based on behavioral psychology, what the military does to train in these special astronauts. It's all about simulation. There are so many occupations out there and industries that experience high pressure. But to address it, to put that all together in a package and have a routine for speaking specifically is what's unique here.
Yeah. What's the myths about speaking that you hear? There's a ton. I hear it's one guy told me, you got to talk to that one person. Maybe that's not a myth, but you hear, I'm talking to the guy in front of me, because that's what I focus on. What are some of the myths that you can break up that aren't really myths about speaking?
I could say your nerves may never go away. You just said it today. You did your 500 plus podcasts. You felt a little bit of anxiety in this show that you were on. I did a session this morning. I led a workshop, and I was getting ready to close after 30 minutes. It was a 60-minute workshop. And one of the attendees said, wait a minute, this is a 60-minute workshop. And I had to regroup that. It happens. I started to get really nervous. I've done so many workshops. I'm probably, 70 cohorts in, and here it happens. So it's, the nerves will never go away. You learn how to regulate them. You have a system to gain, because you're human. The energies, you had a bad night the night before, maybe you had too much coffee. Who knows where the energy is coming from? You got to regulate it. So that's one big myth. It'll never go away, but you can regulate it.
Well, that's powerful, knowing it's there. You're walking in, you're going to be nervous. A little lot, no matter, but here's how you control. I played a lot of sports, and my coaches say, if you didn't have a butterflies, I'm 64. In the old days, you call them butterflies in your stomach. You didn't care about the game. And there were times that, I didn't have butterflies. I didn't play well. But that little nervousness is powerful. See,
the butterflies, also the nervousness, when you do the reframe piece to say, I'm nervous, I'm excited. The body, it's energy in the body. That nerves is sending chemicals and energy through your body. That's how your system works. Your brain labels it as, I'm nervous, I'm panicked, I'm fearful. Your brain can just as easily say, I'm excited, this is going to be fun, I feel great. And that positive reframe becomes motivation. So you need the energy. You don't want it to just go away 100%. You want that excitement to motivate you, to propel you forward, to show intrigue and curiosity. So when you start to really reframe that ball of energy, the response is going to be different. And again, the positive response is as easy to believe as the negative one.
Yeah, it's so big. We're coming to the end here. Talking to you, it always flies by. Next thing you know, it's coming to the end. Talk about your book real quick and what people are going to get when they get your book.
So what's exciting about the book, and this came from, honestly, clients saying, it's like having a coach in your pocket. I have all the drills in there that you need to help regulate the pressure, to help, speak at ease, tell more stories, where to find stories. And because there's worksheets in the book and there's diagrams, and you connect online and download a whole workbook, it literally is having a coach in your pocket, because I want people not just to one and done sit in my workshop or come get training from me. You want to maintain that. And so the book functions like a support system for you, a reminder. Oh yeah, let me go back and try this. And that's kind of the design of it. So I'm coaching you as I'm speaking to you in the book. And at the same time, you can use it as a refresher, as a checklist, however it could help serve you anytime you need it.
And as a coach, I have the book. I've read the book. So many reframes that I use, and I go back to the book. It's like your pocketbook in your pocket. And I'm going to do something special. I've got a couple people watching live. If you reach out to me or Shelley and mention that you were on this TV show, I will send you her book for free. So the 5 people, you got to jump on this. You're going to get the book for free. I'll get your contact, your address, and I'll ship you out or Audible. If you do that, whatever way you want to do it, doesn't matter to me. But I want to get you the book because it's changed my life. And I game changer all the time, but I mean every time I say it, but it's changed my life. I mean, I still go into networking groups where I don't do much, and I tell my story. And I always, like the group I was with Tuesday, 4 women, and I got 2 emails right after it because I told my story of podcasting and what I've done. And we've connected. I've made some introductions, and we can serve more people. Well, we got about a minute or 2 left. What's the last words you want to leave the audience?
I just want to add to that this is about changing lives. This is about, yes, the tools are great. And I keep reiterating it because our idea of what's holding us back is not necessarily enough to hold us back forever. We can get beyond that. And these tools are for everybody because we all deserve the right. We all deserve the opportunity to share what we feel, to share what's important to us, to motivate and help others.
Shelley, how can people find you?
Remarkablespeaking.com or Coach Shelley on YouTube. I've got a lot of videos there where I do a lot more talking.
She's got great videos. I pulled a bunch up before the show today. Just not that I had to refresh myself about you. I know you so well. We've known each other, but they're great shorts. A couple of the shorts about pressure, put them in your back pocket and watch those before you go into a speaking gig. What a ritual to do. Take Shelley in your back pocket by just watching a quick 1-minute video, which I watched today, and it was very powerful. Thanks again. Don't forget, first 5 people that reach out, you will get a free book from me that Shelley's written, and it's going to be more of a handbook, more of a workbook than really just a book of fiction, and you'll be able to grow yourself. Because what's this show called? Together We Serve? Well, together I want to serve Shelley to help impact more people because I know that's her goal in 2026. With that being said, I want to thank all of you for watching. We'll be back next week, Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Come to e360tv.com. I believe that's the right link. I forgot. If it's not, it's the right link. You'll get your free books. And if you reach out, got to talk to me, and we'll make it happen. Have a great day, everyone.